We're now joined by our correspondent Joshua Imirai, who we could see there in that footage. He's been monitoring the protest. Joshua, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Please, what updates do you have for us from the protest?
Well, most of protesters left that particular venue because of the way security operatives brought so many teargas with them, dispersed the protesters. You can see from the videos that the entire area was actually filled with a cloud of smoke, not regular smoke, tear gas smoke. One thing we must note is that this tear gas today is a different ballgame. But some sort of tear gas before, how they came and how the feeling entirely. But today was a different thing entirely. While some of the protesters were trying to gain access into the National Assembly, that was when the police officers carrying the gate shot the first round. And as they shot the first round, it was a different feeling entirely. It was as if the tear gas was piercing our skin. Till now, I still feel some sort of hotness in my stomach. We couldn't see that moment. We couldn't do anything. We were blinded for a second. Thank God that we had to move from that area before we could gain our sight back. But what we are seeing is that security operatives are clamping down hard on protesters. They called for reinforcement, and the moment those reinforcements came, they started shooting those canisters in the air radically. So, what the protesters are saying is that they'll be back, and of course, we'll be monitoring them.
Imirai, did the protesters tell that they would be coming back again tomorrow? How long will these protests go for?
They didn't really pinpoint a time they'll be back. But one thing they said was that they will be back. And they were even saying that beyond this protest, that come the resumption of the National Assembly and their demands are not met, this will actually transition or metamorphose into a nationwide protest. And we all know what happened during the last nationwide protest and how it brought down the economy to a standstill. If that should happen again, I don't think the security operatives should meet them with force. I think this should be a common ground for dialogue for the protesters and those who are holding sway in power to maybe see to their demands to ensure that this kind of situation does not repeat itself again.
Imirai, we saw there Omoyele Sowore, who was talking about the instance of being tear gassed there, just like you have also mentioned. But during these kinds of situations, we always note that there always seems to be a clear misunderstanding who exactly the leader of these protests are. So in this case here, regarding the reforms, the election reforms, does there appear to be a clear leader, someone who is taking charge when it comes to the protests? Is that one person Omoyele Sowore?
We cannot pinpoint the leadership of this protest to a particular person, because earlier on, before the tear gas episode, we saw some notable Nigerians, particularly Obi Ezekwesili, the former minister of sports, as well as former SDP presidential candidate for the 2023 election, Adewale Adebayo, Prophet Isa El-Guba, a host of others. So we cannot identify one particular person as the leader of this protest. This is more or less a collective effort by some individuals who are driving home their demand. So
yeah, and that's the point. That's the point, Joseph. Because when you say that these protesters are driving home their demand, that demand must go through one person, at least a few people, or a collection of people who are championing the protests. If there is no clear identity of who the leaders are, how clear is it then that the demands are being sent to or through the right channels?
Things earlier on, a couple of individuals, particularly the ones I mentioned earlier on, that Adewale Adebayo, they came under the umbrella of Credible Movement for Election, that kind of name. And they read some manifestos, read some memos, and they made some demands. But they did not really state that this is a political movement or they are the leadership of the protest. They are more like members who are adding their voices to the already gaining ground protest. So that is it.
Well, Joseph, thank you very much for bringing us the details from the protest. We'll continue to come to you. Please do get better. Hopefully the tear gas experience wasn't too much on you. Thank you very much, Joseph.